Hi everybody. For our language work today, we're going to talk about how sometimes a word can be a preposition and sometimes it can be an adverb. This is definitely a work for people who already feel like they know the basics of what a preposition is and the basics of what an adverb is. So if you're not so sure about those, it would be a better choice to go back and do one of the lessons, either the preposition one or the adverb one. So as a quick review, remember, a preposition is a word that tells us the relationship between two nouns. I'm going to draw a black triangle under here for our noun to remind us that prepositions are always related to a noun. That's going to be one of our clues to help us know if we're talking about a preposition or an adverb. An example of a preposition might be the word in, as in the teeny fish is in the box, or on, the teeny fish is on the box, or beside, or next to. Those are some examples of prepositions. Adverbs are words that relate to the verbs. So I'm going to put a verb symbol down here to remind us that adverbs are always related to verbs. Now, the basic adverbs that we talk about are normally the ones that end with the sound "ly," like quickly, as in walk quickly across the room. Walk is the verb, and quickly is the adverb that tells us how we do it. For today, we're going to work with a certain group of prepositions and adverbs where they can share the same word, and you have to look at how it's being used in the sentence to figure out which one it's going to be. So, adverbs relate to verbs, prepositions relate to nouns. And this is where it gets wild. Let's try the word inside. Inside could be a preposition, or it could be an adverb, depending on the sentence we used. If I say, the teeny fish is inside the box, that is telling us the relationship between the box, a noun, and the fish, also a noun. So let's write that over here. The fish is inside the box. Okay, in that case, we've got our noun of fish, we have our noun of box, and therefore, the word inside is a preposition telling us the relationship between the two of those. But we can change the way we're using the word inside and make it so it's an adverb instead. How about this? How about if the little fish is out swimming around and I say to it, or it leaves and goes home, and I say, the fish, let's use an easier word, swam inside. In this case, we have the word inside, but let's go on a quest and check for our nouns. Fish is a noun. The is not a noun. Swam is not a noun. That means we don't have another noun here. It's impossible for the word inside to be acting as a preposition, because in order for it to be acting as a preposition, we need two nouns for it to connect. That means that in this case, it's acting as an adverb, because it's telling us more about the verb swim. The fish swam. That's our verb. Inside tells us more information about the swimming. It tells us more information about the verb. The word inside can be a preposition or an adverb depending on your sentence. Let's try another one because this can happen again. How about, have you ever heard someone say, it's time for you to move on? Maybe you're working on something and it's time for dinner and they want you to clean up. Or maybe you're at a park and you really want to stay with the slide, but your sibling really wants to walk over to the swings. And the person with you says, it's time for us to move on. Let's write that sentence. Move on. Well, move is something you can do, right? If I look at you and I say, move, you can move, which means that move is a verb. Well, if we're trying to figure out our dear little word right here, we know that often on acts as a preposition. Like when I have the little box and I say that the fish is on the box. But in this sentence, there is a lack of nouns. There aren't two nouns that are being connected, which means that in this case, on is telling us more information about how we move. Just like when I say move quickly, that tells you more information about how you move. Well, move on also tells you more information about how you're supposed to move. So in this case, the word on can be an adverb. If we go back to our little fish on the box, we can say, the fish is on the box. That follows almost the exact same pattern as the one we did right above it. You can see that we have two nouns here, fish and box, and on tells us how they are related. How is the fish related to the box? It isn't in the box anymore, it is now on the box. Let's try one more following the same idea. So we know that inside can be both. We know that on can be both. Let's try the word down. If I say, the fish fell down a hole. Ready? Fish. Let's get a hole that he can fall down. Here's a hole. Fish fell down a hole. There he goes. In that sentence, let's check it out. Fish is our noun. Fell is our verb. It tells us what he did. He fell down. A and the are articles. We'll just leave them alone for this work. And a hole is a thing, right? That in there is a hole. So we have two nouns. The relationship between the fish and the hole is that he fell down it. Down tells us the relationship between the fish and the hole. In this case, it's a little special because we involved a verb in it, but there are still two nouns, so down still counts as a preposition in this sentence. However, if you are, for instance, in a movie theater and you're getting ready to watch the movie and you're just so excited, you keep standing up and standing on your tippy toes to see, and the person behind you says, sit down. Perhaps they even say it with an exclamation mark. Sit down! Sit tells you the verb. It tells you what they'd like you to do. But it gives you more information. It doesn't tell you where to sit. Then we'd have a preposition. It just tells you to sit down. Not sit down on the chair, just sit down. We can do one more using the word down that helps show it as a preposition in a bit better way than this sentence did, I think. What about look down the page? This is tricky because when we look at this sentence, let's do a bit of analyzing. Page is a noun, the is an article, look is a verb, and then we have our word that might be a preposition or might be an adverb. Now, I've been saying all along that it needs to have two nouns in order to count as a preposition. Well, there's only one noun there, which would make it seem like it needed to be an adverb. But there's this trick. You can imagine in this sentence that I'm saying you should look down the page, because it's kind of like I'm telling you what to do when I say look down the page. And if I put the imaginary you out front, you would be a noun. A way that we can change our previous rule is this. If after the word that might be a preposition or an adverb, you have a noun that is connected back to it, then it is a preposition. Normally, there will be a noun in front of it also, but as long as there is a noun after it that connects back to it, look down where? Down the page. The fish fell down what? Down a hole. That means that it's still a preposition. But over here, sit down, there's no extra noun afterwards. Move on, there's no extra noun. The fish swam inside, no extra noun. If the word is telling you more information about a verb, then it's an adverb. If it's telling you information about a noun, the relationship between two nouns, even if one of them is kind of imaginary in the sentence, then it's a preposition. The most common words to be tricky in between prepositions and adverbs is words that tell us where, like inside, on, down, in, all sorts of things like that. If you find yourself looking at one of those location words and you aren't sure if it's a preposition or an adverb, go ahead and symbolize out your entire sentence and ask yourself, is this word giving me a relationship between two nouns, which would make it a preposition, or is it just telling me how to do a verb or how a verb was done? If it tells me more stuff about a verb, then it's definitely an adverb. Give this a bit of a try. I would suggest that for starting out, take the sentences that we did together as an example and try and make your own that are just a little bit different for practice. Then maybe you want to make a list of all of the location words you can think of that you might have act as prepositions, and then see if you can figure out how to write a sentence where you get them to be an adverb. If you've watched this and you're feeling a little overwhelmed, that might mean that you're not quite ready for this lesson yet. You can take this and store it in your brain for later, and then just practice regular prepositions or adverbs and not worry about tricky ones that can be one or the other. That's okay too. But if you're feeling up for the challenge, go for it, because this is some pretty cool stuff. Have a good day, everyone. Bye.